everything just one-handed, which I did manfully tonight. So I've got some exciting things to show you. First of all, my water today has a beautiful basil sprig floating in it and 2 little squares of lime. Now I know pectin on the skins of fruit can be poisonous, so I have the huge advantage of being married to a professor who knows all things about biology. So I said to him, is pectin on lime dangerous, i.e. will it release all its toxins and poison me? He said they are poisonous, but the body can withstand it. Always, it's absolutely no problem for the body, for our body anyway. So that's great. So all day I've had the nice little taste of lime in there. So the couple of things I want to show you. First of all, I've been using these omega tester for my omegas and 3 and 9. These come straight from the algae which the fish feed on to make fish oils, so cut out the middleman, and they actually weren't that expensive. We figured out what Martin pays for his fish oils and me, and it was something like 6p a day extra or something. It was really quite good, so I'm very happy with them. And they actually wrote to me and said if I did a review for them they'd give me 20% off my next order, which I did. They're a Dutch company. I think they've just started out, tester, but so far I'm really happy with them. I tend to have flaxseed oil every morning anyway in my morning pickup, but I'm taking these with, I've got 3 packets of these to take with me, just in case, you know, we run out of flaxseed oil. The other nice thing about these is you only need to take 1 a day, whereas the other ones I've seen you need 2. So that's good. So I might start off with my early morning pickup. Used to have tea in bed, always, all our adult life. We've started the day with a cup of tea in bed, and it's something I've got so completely used to. And then when I decided to adopt the vegan lifestyle a month ago, I dropped the milk in bed and thought, I didn't drop it, but you know what I mean. I thought, well, I'd try black tea. Oh, and it was really horrible. It nearly made me sick. So now I have a herb tea, and I don't mind which herb tea. He just grabs whichever bag he can find. He brings it up. I should say, of course, assumption. Martin, always brings tea in bed. So that's very nice for me. So I start the day with herb tea. And then I've been getting up and yawning and feeling really sleepy and thinking, why can't I wake up as well as I used to do? And then it suddenly dawned on me that I'm not having my 2 cups of strong caffeine tea before I get out of bed, and that's why I'm so sleepy. So I've started making a morning pick-me-up, which when I'm very organised I do take with me to bed and have by my bed. And this consists of a spoon of ginger, you know, through a puree. Actually, we buy the big pots from Asda, ginger paste, which is 86% ginger. It's fantastic. So I keep it in the fridge and I just have a spoon of that each time. And then I'll squeeze some citrus in it or have some apple juice. And then I'll stir in 1 teaspoon of apple cider with the mother, it's called. It's an extraordinary name, with the mother. Goodness knows what that means, but according to my vegan nutritionist, it has all the right stuff in it. So I buy my apple cider with the mother from the local health food shop. So I have a spoon of that in, and also a spoon of my flaxseed oil. Stir it all up, and with the ginger it really packs a punch and you're awake and ready to go, and it's fantastic. So that's my morning pick-me-up. So some of the things I've been doing today, I might have told you I had a papaya yesterday. First time in my life I've ever actually bought one, and it was really quite interesting. It was a bit like a mango, but more watery and slightly more pineapple-y in taste. A little bit odd. I'm not really sure if I liked it that much. But they were quite cheap, 2 for £1.25. Can't really complain. But then the seeds inside, I suddenly encountered all these black seeds, which were extraordinary. And I thought, oh, I wonder if I can do anything with those. So I googled them, and you actually can dry them and grind them, and they have a mustard peppery taste, and you can use it as a condiment or mix it with something. So I did that. I dried them and I ground them. So now I put them in 2 little salt and pepper pots to bring along on our trip. All we have to remember though is the one that looks like it's salt isn't salt, it's actually papaya seed milled. So I hope I remember that. I hope I remember to tell Martin too. But so that's one quite interesting thing I did today. And then the other thing, let's have a look. Oh yeah, I decided to try my hand at cooking up soy. because it's so cheap to buy soybeans, and I thought, well, if I can make soy flour, then I can throw it in smoothies and stir fries and just throw it on anything. And anything that can have a powder, because it's like pure protein. And also, soy milk. I wonder how easy it is to make that. So today I decided to try and make soy flour. So I soaked them overnight in a jar, no problem. Drain them, let them dry completely, spread them out on a baking sheet, put them on a very low heat for about an hour, which I will be able to do in the van because I've got this Dutch skillet cooker where I will be able to cook them in the van. Anyway, it was slightly too long, and I began to roast them a little bit, which actually gave them a gorgeous aroma when I took them out. So then I blended them all up in my NutriBullet, and it blended really, really nicely, and I made this lovely flour. Let's see if I can get a better picture of it. So that's the slightly blackened soybeans and the flour. They might look black, but that's actually, it's got a bit of shadow on it. They weren't actually burnt. And that was really nice. So I'm going to enjoy putting that in our morning smoothies, knowing that it's just protein powder. So that's another thing I did. And then finally, we discovered we had a quince bush growing outside our window. We haven't been living here long, so we're having all these delightful discoveries, like the garage door's rotten and we have a quince bush. So Martin went out and picked all the ones he could see, and he picked about 30 lovely, juicy looking small quinces. So we pondered what to do with them. Martin did a bit of research and decided to make some jam, and he had to peel and core them. But they're quite hard to peel, and when he cut them open, the core took up nearly the whole of the quince. So we thought, oh, sod this for a laugh, this isn't going to work. So he gave up and went away. Then I went online and had a look, and I thought, well, I wonder if I microwaved them to make them soft, then I could probably get the core out easily. So I did that, and it worked a treat. It sort of pretty much pureed it in the microwave after 20 seconds, and I sort of squashed it with a knife, and the core literally popped out like a big peanut. So that was really easy to get the cores out. So I got them all, mashed them all up, and I hoped that the skins weren't toxic. So for the second time of the day, I asked my dearly beloved if the skins of quince were toxic, and of course, actually, he didn't know that, so he said we better check on that. So we had a look, and not only are they not toxic, but they've been studied, and they're believed to have some cancer healing properties, and it's just a very hopeful study one group have done. So that was good. So we left the skins on, and we cooked them up. I followed a recipe with vinegar and sugar, a bit of salt. That was all, I think. And she said use any vinegars, and all I had in the house was red wine vinegar and apple balsamic vinegar. Balsamic, however you say that. So I used that, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm the proud owner of one large jar of quince chutney, which we will put in our fridge and take with us. And we also had a crop of apples off the apple tree in our garden this summer, so I'm feeling very domesticated and sort of farmer's wifey, doing all these things. It's been such fun. So that's what I was going to show you today. And then the other thing I can show you, which is quite interesting, is I write down my food diary every day, which I mentioned my nutritionalist. It's actually a friend of my son's who knows everything about food from having studied it herself for years, and she's also vegan, and she's runs a health food shop at the moment. And although she's not a professional nutritionist, she's a darn sight better than me anyway. And she said that her life ambition was to be a weight loss consultant. So I said, oh, I know just the person you can start with. How about me? I could be your guinea pig. So she said that's wonderful. So every day I write down my food diary and send it to her, and she gives me comments and tips. And the lovely thing about this, because like so many overweight people, I've tried Weight Watchers, I've tried Slimming World, the whole lot, vowed I wouldn't go back there. I found it so boring, like watching paint dry. The last time I was actually at a Slimming World, they were going around person by person, and the person had to say how much they'd lost that week and how much they were hoping to lose next week. And it was 30 people, and it was it was probably one of the most boring hours of my life, and I remember sitting there looking out the window thinking, this is a line in the sand. I will never, ever come here again and put myself through this again. It was very similar to the last time I rode a home exercise bike. I decided it simply wasn't worth the boredom of it. An exercise bike and a gym is a bit different, not that I do that either. We actually love cycling, but it was pretty much the same as my home exercise bike. I thought never again. So her approach is really brilliant. She started out by saying, we're not even going to mention the word restriction or calories or weight or anything. I'm quite convinced that if we just follow certain guidelines and introduce new foods into your life, into your diet, over the months it will slowly fall off. Let's give it a shot. And the emphasis was all on health and joy and adding to rather than taking away. So I absolutely love this approach. So within a couple of days she had me buying and cooking and eating beetroot, kale, cabbage. She had me tripling the water that I drink. And the lovely thing about this food diary, it's got to be on a double page. On the other page, I write down how I feel all the way through the day. So if I've had a lunch and then I feel a bit heavy, half an hour after lunch, we'll look at exactly what I had for lunch. And quite often, if it's wheat or something heavy like that, it will have that effect on me. If it's fruit, vegetables, even rice, that sort of thing, that doesn't happen. So things like that are so useful. And so I'm really excited about it. So since starting with her, I haven't got her permission yet to give her name, but I will, and then I'll let you know her name. I've lost 7 pounds, and that's in a month. Well, probably a little bit longer actually, because after I've been on it for about 10 days, then I went vegan. So it's probably a month and 10 days, which isn't a quick weight loss, is it? And it has stabilized recently, but added to that, I'm hardly drinking anything compared to what I used to drink alcohol-wise. I used to easily get through a bottle of wine in a night, and often did that 3 times a week. I mean, at my worst, it was probably 3 times a week. And recently, it's been quite handy. My body has just been refusing to play ball. And when I try to drink, it just makes me feel absolutely steamrollered, awful, terrible. So it's quite easy for me to stop, because literally it's like just not banging myself over the head. I find I can have a glass of wine early evening, or maybe 1 beer, so that I'm doing that very occasionally, and I'm never buying white wine. I just have a glass of Martin's red wine, which she likes. So that's working out really well. So I'm quite confident. I don't care how long it takes. I've got about 50 pounds to lose, maybe 45. It can take a couple of years, as long as I see it slowly going down. Since I retired a year ago, almost to the day, it's been quite quickly going up. So our last trip to France involved a lot of salami and French croissants and tartines and gorgeous French pastries, and all that's gone now because I'm vegan, which is great. So I get my only naughty treats will be like raw cacao chocolates if I happen to find a place, or oily things like nuts and hummus, which obviously have oils in as well, but it's going to be different. There's such a whole range of junk foods that I cannot have, and amazingly, I do not miss any of them. The only thing that I think I might miss is that lovely French flour, which is like solid custard on a base, and I used to absolutely adore that. Also, vanilla slice is my favourite. Used to be my favourite English cake as well. I do love custard, but then I discovered that bird's eye custard is actually vegan. So even though it's got loads of crap and chemicals in it, it is vegan. So I am carrying that with me, and I will make a really thick, stodgy custard if I, feel the need for that comfort food. But to be entirely honest, I'm having so much plant-based, non-processed food that it doesn't really taste very nice anymore. What I prefer to have as my comfort food, and it's so easy, it's just a handful of arborio rice boiled up in some coconut milk. The most gorgeous rice pudding you've ever had. Absolutely lovely, and it's the best comfort food, and Martin loves it too, so that's really, really handy. So here I am back in this van.